All right, we're rolling.
All right. Chris and Christian of the NYYST podcast on with Sal Licata of SNY and WFAN. Sal, how you doing this evening?
Not bad, guys. Now, Christian, what was it? You blatantly attack me on Twitter. What is up with that? I mean, come on. I get you're a Yankee fan and maybe you're sensitive to any criticism, but dude, you have to make it personal. I mean, what was it? You have the exact tweet? I wish I saved it. Something
No,
like you're a joke. Yeah.
I did. I called you a joke, man. I'm so, you know.
No,
what do you want me to say? I gotta take ownership of it.
It's our tactic to get guests on the show. Being nice doesn't work anymore. You got to
should have seen.
You got to go right.
We had Lance McCullers Jr. on a couple years ago, and Chris just went in on him. Like, and I was like,
I attacked him. And the dude responds. He's the nicest guy in the world. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you come on the show? He's like, absolutely. The guy's a diehard Yankee fan growing up, so he came on. It was great.
You know what I'm learning here in with Twitter? First of all, you can't take anything personally. So I've tried to learn that that's the case. Although personal insults, it's not easy to just ignore them and wave it off. But I do learn that a lot of it, and I know this anyway, it's not anger at me. It's frustration about whatever it is. It can't be personal because you guys don't know me or whatever on Twitter is not knowing me. And generally, if you respond back with something that becomes, first of all, it could be any response, just any kind of communication. But in our case, I forget exactly what it was, but maybe I took a shot back at you and then it opened some dialogue. And then, generally people are nice people. And I think the initial tweets can be nasty at times or angry, but generally, if you fight it with a little love and a little kindness, it usually is more rewarding than not.
We have people DMing us all the time because we don't attack anyone more than we attack Yankee fans because they can be the worst. I mean, and we say all the time, we're like, listen, we know 90% of you aren't who we're talking about, but it's the 10% of you that are the loudest and always taking the time to tweet and say something stupid. But they'll DM us like, this kid came after me and I keep shouting him out and he keeps DMing us like, thanks for the shout out or whatever. But he DM'd me and attacked me because I attacked the fit. So I was cool with it, but I came back at him. And you know what? At the end of the day, I was like, you know what? But I respect you because you actually took the time to friggin' call me out and we had a conversation and that's all you can ask for at that point. Maybe Christian could have went into a little more detail, but with the Twitter character, he wasn't able to. So that's why he wanted to have you on.
Hey, you know what? It all worked out in the end. Sal's here. He's going to give us a few minutes here. Sal's a big Met fan. Interesting way the Mets won their home opener today, huh?
Disgusting. Yeah, I can't wait to get on the fan. I'll be on the fan later tonight. And just, you talk about fans driving you nuts. See, here's the biggest reason why I wanted to come on with you guys, because I have a major issue. Now, I'm not going to lie. I grew up a Met fan, of course, right? I mean, I'm not pretending that. Grew up a Met fan. I still am a Met fan. I'm not the same Met fan that I once was, but I grew up a Met fan. I mean, going to a ton of games back in the hated days with the Mets and Yankees, those Subway Series when it first started, the Dave Malicki game or the Subway Series, or all those series were so intense. And there was I hated the Yankees back then. As I evolved, not only as an adult, but as a sports fan and more importantly, a broadcaster, that I could never approach it like that. It's something I'm very sensitive to. I'll admit it. I am very sensitive to the fact where I want to have the Yankee fans respect my opinion on the Yankees because I want to represent New York sports fans. Francesa, who was the greatest to ever do it, Met fans listened to what he said, even though he was a Yankee fan. Russo wasn't even a fan of either team, but people respected what those guys had to say every day. So that's where I'm at. And I know that Yankee fans say, oh, you're a Met fan. That's not why I'm saying that Garrett Cole didn't pitch like an ace. If anything, I think the Yankee fans should agree with me that they should be frustrated that he didn't get the job done as far as protecting that lead on opening day. So that's why you kind of got my attention, that I'm not a Yankee hater, even though I grew up a Met fan. I root for the Yankees now. As a matter of fact, I'll bet almost every night on the Yankees. So I specifically have that rooting interest and I'm invested so I can feel the way that you guys do. So it's something that's very important to me, but I think fans lose that. Same with the Met fans. they get on me. Oh, you're not a real fan. No, I'm a broadcaster. I call it like it is. I'm not a Met fanboy waving the pom poms. I'm about telling it how it is. So with the Mets win today, I thought that was embarrassing. That's not how you should win a game. Home opener where Conforto sticking instead of looking to get a base hit, he's looking to get hit and sticking his elbow out. I thought that was cheap.
Well, I'll say that we say this all the time. Like, it's better when New York sports are doing well. I'm not going to sit here. The only time I'm going to root against the Mets is when they're playing the Yankees.
Sure.
I mean, that's really it. Because when New York sports is doing well, especially over the last handful of years, man, we need some competent teams in New York again. But I watched that game and I got to ask, because I went on your Twitter just to get your take on it, because I knew it'd be a hot topic when you came on. See, obviously, you're disgusted by it. Is Conforto, this is the first question, is Conforto a likable player?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, I've always liked him since he came up. The problem is the expectations for him were, at least from my perspective, were that he was going to be this middle of the order, well-rounded hitter. He's going to hit with some power. He's going to hit with high average. I mean, Michael Conforto, for his offensive skills, should be a 300 hitter minimum. And I know nobody cares about batting average anymore, but you get the point. He should be a hitter that hits the ball to all fields and is consistent from start to finish of a year and probably hit between 25 and 30 homers and drive in some runs. He hasn't done that. His best year was last year, and that's a shortened season, which you can't put much stock in that. He's had moments. He's had good halves of years. But when he first came up, I think he was better, had more clutch hits. He's been disappointing. I guess hitting 260. I mean, he should be a 300 hitter and driving and run. So that maybe bothers me more than even just the one incident today. The fact that he left 9 guys on base yesterday in Philadelphia. Like, he's the 3 hitter. You got to be better than that. So, and health hasn't been the issue. It's been lack of performance.
I bring that up, and not to get too off topic, because we do have a list of things we want to talk about. But I only bring that up because I watched the clip real quick. In real speed, it didn't look that bad. And then they slow it down and it's like he clearly did it. But I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt of, his stance is kind of over the plate a little bit. But I asked the question if he's likable, because I thought of it this way. I'm not saying I like both of these guys, obviously DJ and Clint Frazier. But I thought of it this way. If that were DJ LeMahieu, I feel like fans of DJ LeMahieu would have been a lot more forgiving of it. And if it were Clint Frazier, again, not that we don't like him, but he's more of the rebel kind of guy.
Right.
And you'd be like, that was disgusting what he did. And the what I saw out of the Conforto incident was a lot of Met fans really not just saying like that was wrong, but that was disgusting was really the word I saw a lot all over Twitter.
I think it's a good point that you bring up, and it's interesting that you say that. I don't think it's because he's an unlikable guy. I do think it's because he struggled to get a big hit. That's where do I think the move in itself was disgusting? No, the way that the game ended in that moment. Remember, it's opening day. The Mets are getting, shut down by the Marlins. Jeff McNeil, it's a huge home run. The crowd goes nuts. Now you're starting to feel energized again. Baseball is back. Home fans at Citi Field. Bat flip and everything. And you felt like they're going to win that game. Bases loaded, 1 out for Conforto and then Alonso on deck. They're going to win that game. You feel good about them winning the game. To win it like that, that's what I thought was disgusting. And the act itself was cheap for a guy who was going to strike out again in a big spot. And he was looking, his mentality should not be, oh, let me get hit to get on base. It should be, I'm driving in the freaking run here. So he could say whatever he wants afterward. The actions said otherwise. He was looking to get hit with that pitch. I thought it was just a cheap way, and it kind of ruined the day for me. The talk is not about the Mets winning on opening day. It's about how they won in that cheap fashion, which we all know it should have been a strikeout.
All right, so Michael Conforto is going to be a big topic amongst Mets fans this year because he's in a contract year. He's going to want to get paid. A guy that got paid is Francisco Lindor, 10 years, $341 million. What's your overall take on the deal? Do you like it? Do you think he's is he worth that type of money?
Is anybody worth that type of money?
No,
yeah.
No,
but yes,
but I mean,
no, as a player, I do like him.
I always say that baseball players, they live in a different realm than the rest of us. So we can't compare it to what doctors or lawyers or teachers should be making.
But even compare it to other ball players, right? I mean, or other athletes.
Exactly.
That's a long time, 10 years, and it's really 11 because he's got this year. Usually those deals don't work out, especially you're talking about for a player who one of the great assets that he has is his athleticism defensively at shortstop. That's going to go away. Now that we're past the steroid era for the most part, guys are going to decline as they get older. So you're eating the final 3, 4, whatever years it may be of the contract, but they had to do it. I mean, the Met fan needed this. The Yankees always get that. And even with them, it's been a little different in recent years where they're actually more conscious of the way that they're spending money and the luxury tax threshold. With the Mets, they haven't been in on big names, big name free agents, or big name players in general in about 10 years. So they went out and made that acquisition. They had to sign him. Do I love the idea that it's 340 million for 10, 10 additional years? No, but ultimately it's not my money, so I don't care. As long as it doesn't prevent them, which I don't think it will, with Steve Cohen taking over, from getting other players in, I have no issue with it.
Yeah, and for me, it's like, if the shortstop class of the free agency coming up wasn't so strong, maybe Lindor doesn't even really think about it. Maybe he says nothing's going to be worth it for me. I'm going to play the free market if he's the sexiest name in free agency and he doesn't have much competition. But for me, you hit it right on the head there. These guys within a year are getting record deals each and every year. By the time Lindor is 3 years deep in this contract, he's going to be one of the lower paid shortstops in the game.
Yeah,
So
that's fair too.
It's a good point to make. But I got to, me and Christian, we try and put on our Met caps once in a while, and our biggest takeaway from it is that we're frustrated. We've been frustrated for the fans. It's not like a hatred for the Mets. It's a frustration for the fans. And then, Cohen takes over. Things are looking a little more optimistic, but the Mets do something within what was it? It was obviously opening day of the season that they just
Well,
continue to
it was a little
do.
delayed because the Nats
Yeah.
had the COVID issue.
Right.
Right. But they just continue to do this over and over. And I got to say, it's the one lingering thing as a Met fan I got to be crazy about. And it's they just can't win games when DeGrom's pitching.
Oh my
I
goodness,
mean,
it is infuriating.
how is it as a Met fan to just watch the best pitcher in baseball by far? If anyone tells you otherwise, they're
Mhm.
crazy. Just continue to go out there and dominate, and this team just can't put up runs and hold a lead for the guy.
And it's been going on for 3+ years
It's
now.
crazy.
It's probably, I mean, I think having a bad bullpen obviously is frustrating. Having a bad offense is extremely frustrating, but that's probably the most frustrating thing I think that I've watched in recent years, when you just continue to blow games and lose games that the best pitcher in baseball goes out there and spins gems left and right, and they continue to do the same thing, whether it's the offense, whether it's the bullpen. They just it's horrible. And I was saying this the other night on the fan. Imagine if DeGrom was on the Yankees, the difference. And this is not to pick on the Mets compared to the Yankees, but you guys know, I mean, Garrett Cole doesn't have to be perfect, and he's going to win a bunch of games, and he's going to be in a position to win a bunch of games because of that Yankee offense, because of the Yankee bullpen. With the Mets, DeGrom not only has to be perfect, even if he is, they still screw him out of so many wins. It is remarkable. It's almost the easy thing would be to win games when DeGrom pitches. It's almost impossible to see what they've done here with DeGrom over the last several years. I honestly can't believe it. And it just continues to happen.
So we'll segue into the Yankees here. That's what our listening audience really wants us to talk about. And the reason why you're here is because when you were on SNY last week after opening day, you had a few remarks about Garrett Cole. And I actually went back and listened to the video right before we came on. And I got to say that you're not off base. I have to be fair about it. Garrett Cole's big bugaboo is that he gives up way too many home runs. But we always say if he's going to allow 1-2 runs a game, does it really matter if they are home runs? Now it's funny that you said that he's never really delivered a true ace-like performance, and then he goes out 7 innings, 13 Ks, shutout. It's the Orioles, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what an ace has got to do. He's got to dominate bad teams. Do you? How do I want to phrase this? Do you think that Garrett Cole is one of the top pitchers in baseball? Would you put him behind Jacob deGrom as the second best guy in the sport? And do you think that he is what the Yankees are paying for? Do you think the Yankees we'll look down the contract in a few years? Did the Yankees make the move that they should have made with Garrett Cole?
Okay, couple of different points to this. Now,
Yeah,
I
I know.
do think the Yankees had to make that move. It was an obvious no-brainer of a move. The Yankees needed a true ace. They got one in Garrett Cole. I do believe he is a true ace. I also don't care who it's against. You go out there and what was it, 13 strikeouts, 7 innings, dominate the way that you do. That's a major league lineup, and the Orioles have had some success earlier this year. So it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Garrett Cole was on fire. Obviously, there's something to the fact that he's throwing to Higashioka, which is a whole nother topic. But Garrett Cole on his own, yeah, I do think he's a true ace. My whole point was, and it's only been a limited sample size, right? We didn't have a full season of it last year. And we saw it a little bit in the postseason where he had dominant performances, but too many times, specifically against the Rays, those games were infuriating. Where Garrett Cole, it's not just about the homers. That's a little bit of a problem, but more about the Yankees getting a lead and Cole giving it back. That drives me nuts. As an ace, you need to pitch to the game, right? So if the Yankees had a 4-1 lead the other day and he gives up a home run to make it 4-2 or even 4-3 before getting pulled out, I'm fine with that. The issue is in that particular game, they were up 2-1 in the 6th inning. There's a game to start the season against the Blue Jays, up 2-1 in the 6th inning, and he gives up a home run. And that's something that he did last year against Tampa regularly, at least my memory, if my memory is correct, and at the very least in the regular season. I don't remember the postseason specifically, other than I think he did do it in the postseason in Game 5, right? I'm pretty sure he did the same thing with the home run. You needed, in that spot, you needed an ace-like performance there. Keep throwing up zeros, match zeros. So it's not that Cole isn't that guy. It's not that Cole can't be or won't be that guy. It's that he hasn't been that guy enough in a short sample size with the Yanks so far, counting, the pandemic riddled year and even on into the postseason a year ago.
It's all fair, Sal. Completely get frustrated, and you're completely right. An ace, if your team scratches out one run, you got to find a way to make that stick. That's all fair. I can't disagree with you at all on that.
Especially the Yankees bats. Remember, the Yankees offense has been the problem in these postseasons here. 17, 18, 19. I know they had success in 17, but really the reason why they've lost, everybody likes to pick on the pitching. Well, Paxton, you can't get out of the first inning or whatever. Yeah, that's not ideal, but the Yankees are built on that lineup. Glaber and Judge and Sanchez and Stanton. These guys got a hit in the postseason. Outside of LeMahieu, hard to find guys. And I know Stanton had a big postseason last year, obviously, but consistently that lineup has been the issue. So knowing that, even more so that you need Garrett Cole to go out there. And if they do give you a lead, you got to make that stick. And he didn't do it. And that's what was frustrating. That's it. It's not Garrett Cole stinks. It's not about DeGrom is better. Nobody cares about that. Garrett Cole will be fine with the Yanks, but he's got to have those ace-like performances more often than not, especially against the better teams.
All fair, Sal. All fair.
Yeah, and look, we go from the ace of the pitching staff to the guy who I claim didn't ask for this, but is the face of the Yankees. You can argue he's become one of the faces of baseball over the last couple of years, and that's Aaron Judge. And we're kind of sitting here now, and we went into the season, we had a whole long show about Aaron Judge this year and how this is how he makes his legacy. He needs to come out here, and the one thing we need out of him is for him to stay healthy and to be a leader on the field, because that's one thing that, people want to compare Judge to Jeter and everything, but there's one thing Jeter did that Judge hasn't yet, and that's win. And
stay
Jeter,
on the field.
And Jeter did that by staying on the field and being a leader on the field. I don't care about the clubhouse stuff as much as I do Judge being a leader on the field right now, because that's what he's here. That's what he's here for. And immediately now we get this whole, first he was sick. Then he's getting, some innings off after they took a 7-0 lead the other night. All of a sudden he's out of the lineup and now he's sore. And now it's like, it went from, oh, he'll be back in the lineup Friday to, I can't give you that guaranteed just yet. And it's like this game the Yankees play where they just don't tell you what's going on. Where do you, if Judge goes down this path again, where do you see his future as a baseball player? Will it even be with the Yankees?
That's the big question, and it's a big problem. And I love Aaron Judge. I mean, how could you not? When he's on the field, there's no arguing what type of production you get. You love his attitude, too. As a matter of fact, the reason I kept picking the Yankees in 2018 and 2019, and definitely last year in 2020, I kept picking them to win the World Series and get over the hump. More specifically, after the 18 season. What was the season? 2018 was the one where the Red Sox got him, right? Where they were making fun of Judge for right. So
Playing
after
New York,
exactly. So and Judge has that attitude, like, all right, you know what? They got us this time. it's not going to happen anymore. And I started to believe in that. I thought he was going to be the guy to carry this team, not to be Jeter-esque or Jetarian, whatever you want to call it. But I thought he had that intangible and the talent to go along with it. And they just haven't been able to do it. And even when he did come back healthy, he's not productive in the postseason. So that's a problem. But yeah, the first problem is the injuries, and 5-6 games into the year already dealing with it, where this was supposed to be the year because he did the yoga and he's getting himself in shape. And we're past all the injury riddled years after the great 2017. Every year has been more by injury here. Even last year, he missed half the games in a shortened season. I mean, 60-game season, he's playing 27 games or 30 games. That's unacceptable. So I don't know how you, as the Yankees organization, I don't know how they would possibly evaluate him moving forward other than just letting this play out. He's too good to say, no, it's not going to happen here. We're giving up on him. He's too injured to say, yeah, we're going to sign him long term. So I think it's probably best for both parties to play it out and not worry about that until you get to that point after the 2022 season and see what happens. But I still do believe Judge will have a big year this year. You just hope that this injury is not too significant. Again,
Here's a quick trivia for both of you. Actually, just popped in my head because I looked it up last night. Since Stanton has come to the Yankees have played about close to 400 regular season games. How many of those games do you think Judge and Stanton have been in the lineup together? Of almost 400 games.
So this was the 18, 19, 20 season?
Correct.
Right? Stanton came after 2017, right? So
correct.
18, 19, 20. How many games they played together?
Together.
Did they even play one last year? I mean, in the regular season? Last year, I don't know if
they played 23 together last year,
Oh,
actually.
they did?
Yeah, which was shocking to me.
Yeah, because there's only 20, Judge only played 27 games, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I would say way less than half. Is it even 100?
146.
Yeah.
146, which works out to be about 13% of the games since they got Stanton. They have these two guys in the lineup. And why that's so shocking, obviously on its face, is self-explanatory, but you got Stanton and you were like, can you imagine a lineup with Judge followed by Stanton? And it's like, we haven't even really seen it that much.
That's why I didn't want them to get. I thought Stanton at the time, they didn't need him. Remember at that time, they were just about to really peak. They came out of nowhere in 2017 and nobody expected them. That was supposed to be the rebuilding year. They get to game 7 of the ALCS. Then they add Stanton, who to me was a mirror of Aaron Judge. They didn't need that type of bat. And I do think it's hurt them here years later, whether it's the lack of flexibility in that lineup with the DH spot, whether it is another player who is always injured, whether it's not having a lefty bat or more versatility with another bat that could be more like DJ LeMahieu. I didn't think or more money, just tying up more money where the Yankees aren't going to be able to go out there, and whether it's keeping Didi, we don't know if that's money or they just didn't want him back. You get the point. They made that move to go all in on Stanton, and it kind of tied them up. It didn't give them as much flexibility as I'm sure they'd like to have now for a player that wasn't really a need because they already had that in Aaron Judge. But yeah, here we are years later. They never stay healthy, either of them.
But Sal, I'll say this to end it right now. If he gives me another postseason like he did last year, and the Yankees can hang another banner on the wall, it's all worth
all of it. Yeah.
Do you trust Stanton though to do it? Because I still have issues. Like I trust Judge, and look, Glaber's been a problem too. Glaber, not only defensively, offensively, you don't want him to carry over the bad defense to the plate, and I think he's done that. And last year he was a 0 until the postseason. So they need Glaber. He's got to be really the difference maker. Even a guy like Frazier, who I like offensively, can be a different type hitter than those all or nothing home run guys with Sanchez, Judge, and Stanton. Maybe you get that a little more balance with Glaber and Frazier. So those guys will be key. I just don't. I know he had a huge postseason, a ridiculous postseason with Stanton. I still don't trust him in a big spot. Too many strikeouts, too easily pitched. So you guys trust Giancarlo Stanton based off of this last year?
I gotta say, I think when a player has the type of postseason that he had and proved himself so early on in a big contract in New York, I think that carries over. But one thing I'll say about the Yankees in the postseason, it's contagious. When this team is hitting, it is very contagious. And when they're slumping, that's even more contagious. So I think it's a mixture of Stanton coming in and just having that natural confidence now, mixed in with these guys around him still need to hit. You've seen it already this year. Stanton has not seen a lot of strikes this season so far. And pitchers are really starting to pitch around him because his swing is on. He is
I'd never throw him a strike. I'd throw him everything in the
never.
dirt. Yeah, I mean, he let him swing, let him get himself out. I mean,
Well, did you see the at bat last night? 3 straight sliders. He's swinging over the top of them. I don't know
yeah.
why anybody would ever throw
Ever throw him a
Stanton a
fastball.
fastball.
Why you would ever throw him a fastball for a strike is just ridiculous. That's the only thing he tees off on. Now, when he connects, obviously it goes a long
Like the
way.
grand
And
slam the other night.
yeah, right. He hits it harder than everybody else. I understand that. And look, even though I can knock Stanton as a hitter, regardless of the year that he has, if he's healthy, he's going to hit 40 home run. I mean, that's just what he does. He's a 40 home run machine. So, man, I hit 60 or 59 or whatever it was with the Marlins in his MVP year. They may not all be big ones, but he's going to hit 40 homers. So the numbers will be there. It's just those big at bats. He would be the last guy, even with the postseason last year. He'd be the last guy I want up there because if you get a smart pitcher, to your point, somebody's throwing him off speed stuff, sliders, keep everything out of the strike zone, more than likely you'll be able to get him out.
Like
Well,
Craig Kimbrell ate him alive, and
Oh,
was that
yeah.
that was game 4 when they were trying to come back in 2018.
terrible.
That was
It
one
was
of the
terrible.
worst at bats I've ever seen in a spot.
But
like
you know,
that.
a lot of casual baseball fans don't think this way, but really this is why Gleyber Torres having a big season and Gary Sanchez having a big season is way more important than just to pad their stats. If you're in a big spot with runners on first and second or second and third with 2 outs and you have Stanton up with Gleyber following and forget about Gary at that point, just Gleyber following right now, are you even thinking about pitching to Stanton? I mean, you're not even thinking about it right now. You're putting him on first base if first base is open. If not, if Glaber's hot behind him, if Gary's batting behind him and he's hot, you have to pitch to Stanton. You have to pitch to someone.
Their lineup is so loaded if everybody is performing at the peak level. So I understand what you're saying. You look at that Yankee lineup, there are no easy outs. Looking at it from another perspective, you guys always look at it from the Yankees fan perspective, right? But let's say you look at it from the Cleveland Indians in the postseason last year. I think I picked the Indians to win that series. So I was rooting for Cleveland probably to win because either I picked them or I forget what happened, whether it's one game or two. But I remember just because I thought Cleveland was going to win, everybody's picking the Yankees. But I remember looking at the Yankee lineup, just thinking, there's no way this is a mistake. You can't. There is no soft spot in that lineup. When those guys are going right, forget it. They're going to mash you. Now against the Rays, and that's of course where I jumped on the Yankees, thinking that they were going to beat the Rays and go on and win the World Series, and they didn't. Now against good pitching like Tampa has, all those arms they threw out there in the bullpen, they got it done. Or years before with the Astros, all those arms, they get it done. That's the thing that's so infuriating, that when the Yankees, when they're at their best, they cannot even be pitched to. All these guys can wreck a game with one swing. Even a freaking guy like Gardner, who's not one of those guys who's going to go out there and smash. Look at Gardner. And I've been saying the Yankees should move on from him for the last 2-3 years. Every time he's in the lineup, he's getting on base, he's scoring runs, he's doing something productive that helps you win ball games. So, and he's a guy who's usually batting 9th in the postseason. So it's just remarkable how deep they are. And I'm honestly shocked that they haven't even been back to a World Series since 2009, especially over the last several years.
Well, if you're shocked, how do you think we feel?
Yes, Jesus.
I mean, I thought it was a given thing. Now, how old are you guys?
I'm 37.
He's 47 and I'm 32.
You're both, so you're 37, Christian, and Chris, you're 32.
I'm 32.
Right. So I'm 41, so I'm a little bit older, which means you guys haven't even really seen failure from the Yankees.
I couldn't even legally drink the last time the Yankees won the World Series. But that being said, you're right. I mean, we've never seen a losing team. Never.
It's remarkable. Now, when I grew up in the 80s, and this is a long time ago, but as a young kid, the 86 Mets were the team. So the Mets actually did have the preferential treatment in the town. That changed quickly, especially since 96. But when you think about it from 96 on, I can't even imagine what that's like to be a fan of a team who every year it basically is World Series or bust, because you're getting into the postseason. You're always having a bad year. The Yankees win 83, 84 ball games. You look at if you look at the records of the Mets over the last 20 years and the Yankees, look at how many times the Mets won more than 81 games and how many times the Yankees, it's not even close. I mean, the Mets maybe did it 3 times or something like that. So it's remarkable to think about what is success to each franchise.
It's something we take for granted too. I'll
Oh,
tell you
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I know, but it's great to have those high expectations. And the Mets now with the new owner, they're hoping that they could get there. But the Yankees, they make it look so easy. It's not that easy. Unfortunately, winning a World Series, I mean, that's something that does take a little bit of luck, and they just haven't had that since 2009. But still, it's hard to believe because I mean, I was brainwashed watching those teams win every single year. You just automatically think it's the Yankees' year. They're going to break through eventually. And I still do think that this core will break through eventually. I'm just shocked it's taken this long.
Sal, I do remember bad Yankee baseball. My first memory at Yankee Stadium was around 88, 89.
Okay.
They actually had the Beach Boys play a concert after the game as a way to get people into the stadium.
Yeah, I know.
He
People
went for
younger,
the concert, not even for the game.
right? Younger fans don't realize that it wasn't a sellout every night, that the Yankees weren't dominating every night. You look back at some of those Mattingly highlights and look at him on his home run streak or whatever. It was empty seats all over the place, or Jim Abbott's no hitter, whatever it may be. There were empty seats all over the place. So it was different when I was growing up, but they've been such a dominant powerhouse mainstay for the last 20 years or whatever it's been. It's crazy. And I guess that they do rely a little bit on the luck in the postseason, right? Because they haven't changed the team since 2017 or 2018. Really, they brought in Stanton, but it's kind of been the same team. I know they added Cole, but you get the point. That lineup has pretty much been the same, especially after last year. They're just hoping that, health and luck are going to be the difference in the postseason. And everybody else kind of did get a little worse in the American League. That should help them too.
Sal, we can't thank you enough for your time this evening. This is going to drop Friday morning, so if you can let the fans know when you'll be on the Fan or on SNY, this way they can check you out.
Yeah, I'm on SNY usually weeknights after the Mets post game on Geico Sports Night. That's 5 nights a week after the Mets post game, and I'm on the Fan doing overnights 5 nights a week, usually from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. So technically like Monday night and Tuesday morning through Saturday.
What'd you get, the JJ slot?
I did not get the JJ slot permanently. There's no permanent announcement on that yet, but I think I'm going to be doing some overnights regularly here for at least the next couple of months or so.
Well, you know what? It'll give me
Got to
something
represent the Yankee talk. I know
That's
you lost one of your Yankee fans on the Fan. You know what? I got you. Even though I'm a fan, Yankees getting the love.
I'm up till 5 a.m. I'm going to give you a couple phone calls throughout the season.
Let's do it.
Give us something to do when my daughter's screaming her head off at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing that was so disappointing to me, Christian. You know what? When I saw that you called me a clown or a jerk or whatever it is that you called me, I looked at your profile and I see you holding your little baby girl in your arms. I'm thinking to myself, come on, man. You're a girl dad. I'm about to be a girl dad.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Who knows? That
and
could
when
happen
you covered for when you covered for Gio, that whenever that was, that's why I said to you, I was rooting. When you said that, man, I said I was rooting for you there.
That's
really
right,
am, Sal.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's right. You took another shot at me for not being able to fix the tire. Now I remember the tweet. That's
hey,
right.
Sal, don't worry about it. Neither can I. He had to change my tire a few years ago. I still hear about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, next time I got to call you up, Christian. Get you come help me out so I can get to work on time.
Anytime you need, Sal.
Love the interaction. Yeah.
As long as we're in Jersey, I don't travel outside of Jersey.
Is that where you guys? Are you guys both living in Jersey?
Yeah, we're in Jersey.
Okay. Do you go to a lot of games?
Yeah,
are you going to go to Yankee?
I mean, look, I used to go to at least 20, 30 games a year, and then he really consistently 15, 20 games over the last handful of years. But this year it's so tough now. My wife thought you bought tickets to the April 17th game, and then we get a letter that says our tickets were postponed. We go to check to see like what's going on, and forget it. You can't even get a ticket anywhere right now. So
yeah, tough with the restrictions and the limitations and all that stuff.
Who knows? Hopefully it opens up. That's what we're hoping for.
My cousin's also having a baby. I think his wife is due around July 4th. I promised him I'd take him to a game before the baby's born. So I got to get out there sometime in June. So
yeah. Hopefully, I know I'm dying to go to a game. I might have to wait till after that, after the baby is born and see if we can go to a game or not. But dying to get back to a baseball. There's something about the beer in those plastic cups that is just as delicious as the beautiful weather, the sounds of a ball game, the beer in the plastic cup, whether it's Yankee Stadium or City Field or whatever around Major League Baseball. I love it. I can't wait to go
Sal,
back.
you know this is probably maybe as well as anybody. There's nothing like the smell of urine and hot dog water when you walk into a ballpark.
Well, I used to say as a kid, like I used to die for Yankee Stadium pretzel, right? But really, if you take it out of its context, it's the worst pretzel you could ever have. You can't even chew it. It's rock solid.
It's
But
disgusting.
there's just something about that pretzel, man, that just takes me back to my childhood. I get one every time.
Of course,
Yeah.
those smells and tastes of the ballpark. Shea Stadium had the worst food ever, but I loved every second of it. Yeah, give me more. I wish I could go back to that. The food now is too good at these stadiums.
Good now. It's too good.
Sal, thank you so much for your time this night on this evening here. Best of luck on the fan. Best of luck with your baby girl coming. Thanks again, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, Sal, we appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you guys, Chris, Christian. I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you guys soon.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Sal.